We are going to start with humanistic theories. Humanistic, organismic, or person-centric theories of personality. Look, humanistic theories are also known as person-centered theories of personality because this theory takes into account the whole personality of an individual. And this theory opposes the reductionist approach of psychodynamic theory and behaviorist theory. And this theory uh, start with the premise that people are inherently good with the unique attribute of greatness. Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow, they felt that the existing theories, psychodynamic theory and behaviorist theories, they failed to adequately address issues such as the meaning of behavior and the nature of healthy growth, because the psychodynamic theory focuses mainly on the maladaptive behavior of an individual. It focuses on the darker side of an individual. It focuses on the hidden motives, unconsciousness of an individual. It start with the premise that individual has got certain what you call the repressed desires, or his early childhood experience influence the behavior of an individual in the later years. But this theory, in contrast to that, this theory believes that individual look, he is born with an inherent ability to grow or to achieve greatness, and it emphasizes on subjective meaning. So there is a difference between the objective meaning and the subjective meaning. Look, objective meaning in a sense, okay, you call a stone as a stone. This is objective meaning. You call a stone as a god. That's subjective meaning. In a sense, you put your own subjectivity to the object, and through that, you try to weave the whole world. In a sense, the reality is constructed psychological, the psychological construction of reality. So it believes in the humanistic perspective, believes in positive growth. It focuses more on positiveness. It focuses on the optimistic part or the inherent abilities of an individual rather than the pathology. Pathology, in a sense, the psychodynamic theory mainly focuses on like maladaptive behavior, on anxieties, on what do you call this? Mainly maladaptive behavior. Then Roger argues that the meaning of behavior is essentially personal and subjective. Here, it derives the meaning of behavior mainly from the perspective of how an individual perceives reality. Maslow coined the term third force to describe the humanistic approach, because earlier approaches, the Freudian approaches, had got a different way of looking at human behavior. Then later, the behaviorist, they had got a different view, at different approach to look at behavior. But this humanistic theory was regarded as the third force because it takes into account the whole individual personality, the whole human into consideration while studying his personality. Humanistic approach is to provide concepts and methods for stimulating learning, growth, and development, both in individual person as well as in society, thus enhancing well-being and overall quality of life. Look, this theory mainly focuses on how to enhance the well-being or the overall quality of life. Well-being is a broader concept. It looks at sociological well-being, or spiritual, or social, spiritual, and the overall well-being. Then it looks at the overall quality of a life. Then it sees that every individual is competent and happier in search of some state of optimum mental health. It focuses only on the positive aspects of a human behavior, and it believes that in every individual there is a drive towards self-actualization. Self-actualization is nothing but realizing one's own full potential. It focuses on a perceived reality. Here, the unit of analysis is how an individual perceives reality. I told you the difference between the actual reality and the perceived reality. If there is a gap between perceived reality and the actual reality, then there will be some maladjustment or a maladjustive behavior in human beings. He proposes a model of how happy, healthy, and well-functioning person behaves, which is based on concrete observation of real people rather than some ideals. He observes certain people who are self-actualized, and he take out certain ideal, the traits. Based on that, he explain or theorizes the self-actualized people. This is against, as I told earlier, it was against reductionism. Reductionism, in a sense, the behaviorist, they reduce the explanation of behavior to stimulus and response. But this theory has taken the whole individual. It has got an holistic view to understand personality. So we can call that Abraham Maslow as one of the founder of humanistic approach. Actually, the Kurt Goldstone, he actually put forward the idea of self-actualization in his famous book, Organism. Here, as we look at this, just a minute, humanistic theory, it is mainly based on how an individual perceives reality and how he experiences that reality. It is the experience which molds an individual's personality. Then, as I told you earlier, it mainly focuses on potential. It focuses mainly on the positive side or the competencies, ability, and growth of an individual. So if you want to understand Maslow's theory of personality, we have to focus on 4 aspects. One is the hierarchy of needs. The second aspect is deficit needs. What actually the deficit needs. Then growth needs. Then self-actualizers. Look, these needs, there are certain needs. He identify 5 needs. And these needs are not equal. All the needs are not equal. Rather, they are in the form of hierarchy. Some are more important, some are dominating. Okay, he talks about the deficit needs. What actually the deficit need is all about. The lower need. If you want to understand this, we have to look at this hierarchy of needs. The first one is a physiological one. The second one is a safety. Third one is about belongingness, and the fourth one is esteem, and the final one is self-actualization. Here, he says that lower a need in a hierarchy, the more dominating that need is. Here, the physiological needs are more demanding. I mean, they are more dominating. They are instinctive. Higher order needs emerge only when the lower level needs are satisfied. Only when the lower level needs, like physiological needs, safety needs, when esteem needs, when these needs are fulfilled to an extent, only then an individual can achieve the stage of self-actualization. The first 4 levels, these 4 levels are considered deficiency or deprived needs or D needs, because their lack of satisfaction causes a deficiency or deprivation that motivates or that drives a people to meet these needs. If you see from this pyramid or this hierarchy, the first one is the physiological needs. It mainly focuses on instinctive needs like air, food, water, sex, all they become predominant, and they are mainly basic and instinctive in nature. They become predominant when they are unmet. When they are not satisfied, they become predominant. Then comes the safety needs such as health, security, employment, insurance, and the housing, shelter. Third comes belonging needs. They are he considered belonging needs are less basic, such as love, intimacy, friendship, or social or religious involvement in social or religious groups. Then the fourth needs, esteem needs, means it's a need. Every individual has got the need for recognition from others, like self-esteem needs, confidence, achievement. Again, within this esteem needs, he classifies two needs. I mean, there are two versions of esteem needs, one a lower one and the higher one. Lower one is the need for the respect of others, need for status, recognition, fame, prestige, and attention. Then higher one is the need for self-respect, need for strength, competence, mastery, self-confidence, independence, and freedom. Look, this need hierarchy, it's based on what you call based on importance. When the lower needs are fulfilled, then individual will go to the next level of needs. These needs are mainly they indicate the inner competencies which are developed through the life experiences. When these needs are deprived, it leads to inferiority complex, weakness, or helplessness. Satisfaction of self-esteem. When the self-esteem needs are satisfied, there will be a feeling of self-confidence or self-worth or strength, capability, or adequacy of being useful and necessary in the world. Then the fifth one, or the final stages, or the highest stages, self-actualization or realizing one's own strength. Then we look at deficiency needs. What are the deficiency needs? The first four, physiological, safety, belonging needs, esteem. These needs are considered as the deficient needs or D needs, because when the individual is deprived of certain needs, his behavior is driven to fulfill those needs. For instance, when individual is hungry, there will be a state of disequilibrium, and individual tries to fulfill his needs. When his needs, hunger needs, are fulfilled, he will be in a state of equilibrium, which is known as homeostasis. Homeostasis is nothing but a state of equilibrium. Then comes the growth needs, which are they are mainly called as being needs or self-actualization. For self-actualization, lower needs should be taken care of. Only when lower needs are taken care, only then individual can think of the higher needs. This theory mainly uses the qualitative methods such as biographical analysis to understand or to study this self-actualized people. It take into account their biographies, their writings, acts, and words. Abraham Maslow studied certain historical figures: Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, Albert Einstein, Roosevelt, then Jane Addams, William James, Albert Schweitzer. So he studied these historical figures and he listed certain qualities, certain exceptional qualities, and he defined them, characterized those qualities as the qualities of a self-actualized people. So certain qualities or the characteristic of self-actualized people they are reality centered. In a sense, they always focuses on the reality, or they mainly focus on the problems or the realities of life. And the perception, they focus is on the perception of means and ends. They always believe that it's the means which justifies the ends, not the ends which justifies the means. Because Mahatma Gandhi says it is the means which always justifies the ends. So they enjoy deep personal relationship with a few close friends and family members. They enjoy autonomy. They want to be independent from all the physical and sociological needs, and they resist enculturation. Look, enculturation is a process of learning one's own culture. This is a culture process. These people, no, they are mainly non-conformist, means they do not conform to their own culture. Look, they will be having a global outlook, and generally they have a sense of a humor, and they accept their self as well as others. In a sense, when there is a gap between what actually the perceived reality or the ideal, when there is a difference between the actual self and the perceived self, there will be a maladjustment in the behavior. But in this case, they accept their self as well as others, and they are more spontaneous in their response, and they lead a very simple life, and they always prefer being themselves. And they develop a sense of humility and respect towards others. They mainly focuses on social interest. They are more compassionate and more humane. They are mainly spiritual, ethical, creative, innovative, and virginal in the thought. The people who are self-actualized, they experience peak experiences. It's mainly the mystical experiences. It's an important part of many religious and philosophical tradition. It's a feeling of being part of an infinite, or being part of nature, or being part of a god. So if you look at certain imperfections or certain shortcomings in self-actualized people, we can find that they often suffer from anxiety and guilt, since they have got their own standards. When these standards are not met, they generally get anxious, they generally feel guilt. Some of them were absent-minded and overly kind. Some of them even had unexpected moments of ruthlessness, surgical coldness, or loss of humor. When these people, when they are forced to live without these values, the self-actualizers mainly develop depression, despair, disgust, alienation, and a degree of cynicism. Here, the alienation is a psychological feeling of separating oneself from the external environment, and gradually from one's own self is known as alienation. Then the evaluation of Maslow's theory. It is mainly a forward-looking theory. It mainly take into account the whole personality of an individual. It has got a holistic approach for a individual personality. It look at personality or an individual as a human. It look for a deeper meaning or purpose in the lives. It believes in the fact that every individual is born with certain inherent capacities. Then Maslow's unique contribution is in his preoccupation with healthy people. Look, it mainly focuses on the fact that every person has got certain healthy aspects, or the positive aspects, or the good aspects, rather than focusing on the maladaptive behavior. If you look at the methodological part, the methodology adopted by Maslow to study the self-actualized people is criticized, because he has taken only a small number of people as a sample, and he himself categorized certain traits as self-actualizing traits, and Maslow limits self-actualization to be achieved only by only few people, only 2% of the human species. If you look at the whole theory, it's mainly humanistic. It's mainly based on the fact that every individual has got the ability to grow. It focuses on the quality of life, awareness, or the positive or optimum mental health of a individual. It focuses on subjective or the perceived reality or the experiences or the, what do you call this, subjective experience of an individual. How an individual self gets reaches the level of self actualization through this different different, what do you call this, different by satisfying the lower needs, how an individual can reach the higher stage of self actualization. Actually, we studied what actually the deficit needs. The first four needs are regarded as deficit needs, and the final or the last need is regarded as a self-actualized or the need to self-actualization. We have seen certain characteristic of self-actualizers, like they are simple, spontaneous, spiritual, and we also looked into the facts, certain imperfections in self-actualized people. Thank you.